I'm like going, I guess I need to find a new office.
It happens. That's why I only had one kid.
Yeah, well, I started out that way. My oldest is in college. He's a sophomore, and then I got remarried at 40, and so then stepson, and then we had 2 kids together. So I went from one kid my adult life to all of a sudden now I have 4, and I'm like, going, how'd that happen? Yeah.
Wow.
My oldest is 20 and my youngest is 5, so I'm going to be doing this for a while.
Man, no kidding.
Where are you at, Don? Where do you live?
I know what you're thinking.
New Jersey.
How does a guy have a perfect family,
Maryland,
a
so not
beautifully
too far.
manicured lawn, and enough time to sit in the grass and do absolutely nothing?
Where are you, Ryan?
Let me introduce you to someone. Meet Yarbo, my all-season, all-in-one autonomous yard care powerhouse. It blows me grass blowing, weeds, cuts your snow, and more, all with just one modular robot. Before Yarbo, we never had time for Grandpa's stories.
Where do I begin?
My yard is huge, but Yarbo can handle up to 6 acres all on its own. That leaves us enough time
in case anything goes down
all the
again. I want to make
classics
sure I have all that stuff, you know?
Should I start over?
No. Right
travel
from where you were,
so it's
Grandpa.
nice. I'm like 20
With just a
minutes
tap
to
of
O'Hare,
the finger,
so,
Yarbo was off and away,
you know, I
mapping
couldn't
the
do that
yard and
anymore where I
getting to
land in
work,
Chicago,
leaving
and
me
then
enough time
we
to
would do that at the
finally
Blue Line or
read the
Uber,
book
and it would always take me at least an hour plus to get back to
We
the
got a
condo
big
and
yard,
the apartment.
and it's got a lot
so I
of
was like,
character.
you know what, man?
I'm talking hills,
traveling so
holes,
much, it's
bumps,
so
and
nice to
stones.
be, like,
But the
not sit in
heavy-duty
traffic
grass
for,
track handles
an
it
hour
all.
or so like that. So yeah.
Everything you need is on the app, including the adjustable mowing pattern. What do you think, Grandpa? Parallel
I didn't get
or
the memo
downward?
to wear a black shirt, but I can go put one on.
Good choice!
This is my only Yarbo shirt. I got a sweatshirt.
Yarbo's obstacle avoidance keeps me worry-free, with the ability to detect animals, humans, and anything that isn't grass. That means Grandpa can sunbathe in peace.
More Yarbo shirts.
He's really just napping, and thanks to
During the
Yarbo's
winter, I wanted
ultra-quiet operation,
that big
that's no
down
problem.
one you guys got up on sale. I was
Yarbo
like, that
keeps
one's
my
pretty
yard
nice.
looking sharp, thanks to its powerful pair of cutting blades. It's got all the muscle of a traditional mower, but none of the hassle. Just ask my neighbor.
Oh, there you go.
I can do that. How's that?
Plus, Yarbo's back brace mount lets me multitask like never before. Like the trimmer module, which handles all those hard-to-reach edges. Yarbo's core is the perfect yard assistant. With the Follow Me feature, it's like having an extra set of hands. With tow mode, Yarbo can autonomously tow any traditional tow-behind yard equipment. A perfect replacement for your ride-on
Hey,
lawnmower.
Ken, how are you?
And for extra peace of mind, I can activate patrol mode. If Yarbo detects anything suspicious, it sends me alerts and even issues a warning.
Yeah,
Please leave
you
the
sound
property.
robotic.
Oh, it's me, the neighbor. My hat blew off. Please leave the property.
Fine.
I'll leave the property. Please leave the
Broadcasting through the
property.
internal speaker.
Property leafed.
Usually I'd be upset, but Yarbo's got it handled. With a quick swap to the leaf blower module, I don't have to fuss about my yard getting leafed, seasonal or otherwise. Yarbo
It's going
optimizes
live
its
right now,
blowing
but
pattern
I'm
and
playing,
clears
still
yard
playing
with
the
hurricane
videos, the
force.
TVC videos, so when
extended
it's
nozzle makes
gone,
sure no leaf
so
gets
I will
left
let you guys
behind.
know when it's ready.
Whoops! When winter rolls around, we break out the snowblower module. And just like that, snow shoveling is a thing of the past. Yarbo powers through blizzards with 10
is that any
trucks
better?
and a heavy-duty
That's much
snowblower.
better.
So you can always count on a clear driveway.
Yeah.
Now that yard care is a thing of the past,
No,
I guess you could say I've got a whole lot of time on my hands.
Yeah. Like wait, yeah. Let us know when our station's on.
One machine, every season, every yard. Yarbo.
Keep track. I always forget I gotta keep track of time on this too. All right.
All right, guys, we are going live right now.
Yes.
All right. Oh, Ken, did you close your door?
It is closed. Why? Can you still...
Yeah, I think I can still hear a little bit, but
Hang on one second.
yeah.
Maybe we can fix that.
Sounded like a group of high school kids just came running through.
Yeah, is this any better?
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
I just
guys.
put on
It's
background
live.
noise suppression.
We're live?
Yeah, we are live.
Awesome.
All
Awesome.
right.
Awesome.
Cool.
Can't wait for
All
people to
right, I'm
join
going
us. If we
to
just-
give you the times and space here, so I'm about to leave. Good luck, guys.
All right. See you, Kathy.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kathy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, usually people join us, they're kind of trickling in and stuff like that, but we play this back. So let me just give the quick intro. Welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us to episode 2 of Yarbo's Live Roundtable. The first one was so exciting. We had to do this again for you guys. Today we're just going to talk about some real life experience, maybe some smart usage tips, and really just creative ways to make the most out of your yard this summer. If you're out there and you are joining us, make sure you let us know where you're watching from, whether or not you're a Yarbo user. If you're thinking about purchasing, you're on the fence, things like that. Feel free to ask us questions at about 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central. We'll go to kind of a Q&A format, so you can ask some of our Yarbo users. You can ask Ken questions. You can ask me questions, but I'd probably rather ask Ken those questions. But yeah, we'll do our best to answer everything. Just leave your comments. Let us know where you're watching from specifically. We want to know that so we can kind of get an idea of where our users are coming from and stuff like that. And today we have a new roundtable here. Well, Ken's obviously our co-founder, Ken. You guys all know Ken.
Hey,
Ken
guys.
Coleman. Hey, Ken. And we have from HandyDadTV, Chris Hyder, right?
Hyder.
Yeah. I know we said that before. Chris Hyder from HandyDadTV. From New Jersey. That's pretty cool. From New Jersey. So you're obviously getting all kinds of different weather. We can hit on that. And then Donald Acker from Maryland. So you're a Yarbo user as well. So he's going to be joining us. We're going to get his insights and see what he's had going on as far as that goes. So yeah, let's just kind of work it around real quick. And Don, if you want to start, just tell us a little bit about yourself and your background with Yarbo and how why you're here today.
Yeah, sure. So thank you all for having me. I started the Yarbo journey because of Facebook. So Facebook got me like it does many things, but I have a pretty large property, and we'll talk a little bit about that when we get to my time slot. But I came on board with the coupon and pre-ordered in May, and got mine in December. Grew it from a mower to a snow blower and then a plow. So been using it now since the time I got it. So October I was able to mow with it the first time. So looking forward to talking about and sharing some stories.
Sweet. And Chris, I don't know. I've come across your HandyDadTV. I watched some of your videos as well. So why don't you just give us kind of a little brief introduction as to who you are and how you came about Yarbo?
Sure. Well, I've been on YouTube for about 10 years now, professionally, I could say. And it's still just a part-time gig for me. My full-time job is working in Big Pharma in New Jersey. Not retired yet, but like I said, 10 years. I've been doing a lot of lawn care stuff, but that's not my specialty. It is just one of the things that I've been really focused on. I've always been a homeowner, and I always take care of my lawn, and those videos have seemed to do very well. And I also do a lot of videos on technology. And so when robotic lawnmowers started coming on the scene, that was it basically hit both of those, passions of mine. And so I think maybe 3 years ago was my first experience reviewing a robotic lawnmower. And I'd done a couple of them, and I don't know where I found out about Yarbo, but as soon as I did, I was like, oh, I got to go to what used to be known as the GIE, which is the Grass Industry Expo. Now it's known as the Equip Expo. And I heard that Ken was going to be there, and I said, oh, I gotta meet this guy. So I actually booked a trip to Indianapolis just to go and see it in person, and made that connection with Ken. And from there, actually, I think I got the snowblower from you guys in December, and we were lucky in New Jersey. We had 3 storms this year, so I actually got to use it, really use it and demo it and make a lot of reels about it and things like that. It's really was an eye-opening thing. Really, really cool. Man, it turns heads. And everybody is just like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Like a robotic snowblower? And then when the spring came and I got the mower attachment, again, people walk around my neighborhood and they're like, "What is that?" I was like, "Hey, it's mowing my lawn." They could not believe it. You know, it's definitely a head turner. So that's my journey so far with Yarbo, and I'm looking forward to the fall to actually trying out the blower. And I know that tow mode is going to be coming out soon, and I've already got some things I can tow with it, a spreader and other stuff, and so I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah, my wife's from New Jersey, so we were actually just, I don't know why we always end up in the same conversation about the black bear population in New Jersey. She's like, they're everywhere, because I was reading an article, I'm from Illinois, and they were like, our black bear population is like 0. But Wisconsin has like 24,000 and Missouri has like thousands of them. But for some reason in Illinois, and then my wife was like, oh man, it's like they're all over in New Jersey. So maybe that'll be an added attachment down the road, like a black bear repellent or something like that. But so that's good. You guys get all kinds of weather, kind of like we do here. I know Maryland's probably a little bit more mild as compared to like some of the Midwest storms we get. But you guys are finding usage out of multiple modules on the Yarbo, so that'll be great to talk to you guys about that. And then obviously, okay, I can move. We can go to Ken. Everyone knows Ken, our co-founder. Ken, you got like 10 minutes. So Kathy gave you 10 minutes, and there was one thing she put fun behind the scene facts. So I don't know if she's trying to sell, like what's going on in the New York office, but Ken's based out in Long Island, New York, so obviously they get a ton of weather out there too, so he can see storms, he sees all that fun stuff like that. So Ken, just kind of share your background, your story for the people that maybe don't know, and kind of how you got involved with Yarbo in the first place.
Yeah, so hi guys, I'm one of the co-founders here at Yarbo. So Yarbo is really started to take the mundane tasks right out of yard work. I myself has always been, and I always say this, kind of technology obsessed to a fault. If there is something and it has technology in it and it can improve your life, I want to at least try it, right? So I got into the robot mower world first years and years ago. They were available in Europe, and I had one imported here because I wanted to try it, and I thought it was the coolest thing. It's kind of like seeing the world's first autonomous vacuum, right? And now you're seeing a lawnmower, but a lawnmower wasn't enough, right? So the co-founders of Yarbo, I'm one of them, right? But obviously there's others. We really wanted, we follow kind of a similar passion and theme, and that is helping improve people's lives through technology, right? Whether that could be a myriad of things. It could be disabled people, elderly people that just can't physically do things right around the yard. That could also be just giving you back your time to spend with your loved ones or do what you love rather than doing yard work. I know some people enjoy yard work, but sitting on a ride-on lawnmower in 100-degree weather is probably, gets old eventually. Same thing for the snow. The snow obviously has, heart attacks associated with it, and no one I know actually likes to be out in the snow, for sure. So that was a big pain point. But we really wanted to push the boundaries of what was available, and we started life as a company to build the world's first autonomous snowblower. As we were doing that, we were getting feedback from a very large audience because we ran a few beta programs when we were under the name Snowbot. And one of our actual YouTube reviewers has said to us, you guys have done something no other company can do, right? Anybody can, and this is an oversimplification, but anybody can make a robotic lawnmower, a robotic vacuum. They're pretty simple, but you guys are able to operate in the snow, get traction, see in the snow, wet snow, dry snow, navigate in the snow, adjust the angle, adjust the chute, throw in different directions using algorithms to move snow into piles. And he said, I applaud them. At the time, we had a single stage robot. It was called the Snowbot. It was a very basic offering. It never actually came to the mass market. We did 2 betas with that, 100 units one year, 80 units another year. And when that YouTuber said that, kind of a light bulb went off, and I said, you know what? he's right. So on the snowblower side, it is much more complicated than lawn mowing to a degree, right? With lawns, you have to worry about tree cover and things like that for GPS navigation. But the snow is definitely more challenging. And at that point, we had an internal meeting and said, you know what, guys, we could either release this. We were about a month away from releasing that product as the Snowbot S1 Pro, or we could take a chance, rebrand to Yarbo, which actually the name wasn't even a thing then, right? We were trying to come up with a 2-syllable word that people can remember. We figured at the time, they had Google and people would use the term Googling, and no one knew what Google was when it started, right? So we figured Yarbo was more encompassing and kind of yard robot. And we decided, you know what, let's talk to the chief electrical engineer at the time and the chief mechanical engineer and say, okay, well, how difficult would it be to make this modular connection with no tools? And our first prototype was actually 3 connections. It was like an old 20-pin printer cable connection, then a connection for the camera, and then a connection for the power, like a basic Anderson cable, if anyone's technical out there. And now it's streamlined into, one twist connect cable, 2 tabs that you unlock, the module for. And so, we looked at that and decided as a company, the market is obviously much larger. The opportunity is much larger. The risk is obviously much larger in a way because we could fail hard, right? If it doesn't pan out, if there's not a market for it. But we decided to go ahead with it. We rebranded the company, we reworked the product, and then we launched the Kickstarter. So, as a company, we really have a passion for innovation. We want to help people through technology, and we are trying to push the technology as much as it will allow us based on, what it can currently do and obviously price. But it's been a pretty fun ride, for sure. And as far as, fun facts, the only thing I will say is that I personally test a lot of the products and features before they come out. So that brings up some interesting challenges. So for example, I was running I'll call it an alpha version of firmware yesterday. And so my wife said, hey, I want to send the Yarbo out. And said, okay. And so we have a 2-year-old who's home most of the day. So we don't have Yarbo on a schedule. We might be a little unique in that. And so she went to go send it out. And of course, it threw an error, some random error that, again, it's an alpha software. So I like to personally be involved in that stuff because when we bring a new feature out, I want to test it, experience it in the real use case, give feedback to the team. And of course, we couldn't mow the lawn. So here I am, the co-founder of Yarbo. And, we're literally, I'm testing bleeding edge firmware. So the team popped in and I was able to mow today. But obviously my wife is giving me a look like, hey, are you kidding me? Like this thing won't move. And I'm like, listen, just when you wake up, it'll be moving. All right. Like the team will look at it, I can save face and sure enough, it did the lawn today. And, she was very happy, but yeah, so.
It's chilling. No,
yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I've had, there's different days where different things, it's this technology is new, and then also it's like you're constantly getting updates. You're constantly, I know R&D's constantly doing things with stuff. So it's like, it's a lot of technology and just one little, piece of machinery. So, I had to test the tow mode out the other day and it was like, I was just pretty much beta testing this tow mode and then I did it live, which that's probably not where I want to test things out. I want to do that with no cameras and stuff. Thankfully, it blew my expectations away, even during the live testing and stuff like that. But you could see, but that's the good thing about Yarbo users and even Ken, it's like we are kind of all the just incubators of this new technology that's coming out. And so we're all kind of seeing how things work. And so like you said, I know Chris said like he didn't even, 3 years ago, he was like, that's where it was like this, it was like before and after. So now he knows all these autonomous things. Before 3 years ago, he was like, what's this stuff? Like, where's this coming from?
Yeah.
But
and on that point, I do want to give a shout out to the product pioneer group. So they, they're very ambitious. So we usually push firmware to them that is pretty stable. This last week we pushed a firmware that wasn't so stable. And again, their commitment is they are going to get the earliest versions of firmware before it goes public. It had a GPS issue, and they are kind of on the front lines, aside from our testing group, that are testing these firmwares in the real world, and it means that they might not always have a working Yarbo, right? So, but they're a group of about, I think they're 80 users right now. They're very dedicated, very passionate about Yarbo and pushing forward, the functionality. And there's still a ton we are doing with software that's yet to be realized, and we're really excited about that, but it takes a village.
Yeah, I have the test flight on my phone, the Yarbo test flight. So that was one thing. I did have like a intermediate GPS thing going on last, and then, it took a second, but then it was like fine. You know what I'm saying? But it did take a second and stuff like that. But I'm happy I get to test things out and have fun. But also, Ken, though, where did you connect with you said you're more of a corporate background type of guy, right? Like a more you weren't out there mowing grasses or anything and just said, whoa, this would be great. Like, how did you even connect?
Sure. Yeah, sure. So I actually had a digital marketing agency for 15 years. I liked it. Again, it was relative to technology, doing SEO and things like that within the agency. It was always changing, so it was challenging and frustrating, but I liked talking with people, business owners, things like that. So, and seeing businesses grow through, what you're doing, but I didn't love it. My passion is more product-wise, tangible. And so I had actually started a Husqvarna dealership back when they were released in 2018, and had a Husqvarna Automower only dealership. And we were doing really well selling lawnmowers, but it's a very seasonal product, right? So I approached Yarbo when they were Snowbot to carry their product, and they had sent me their first prototype, and I was kind of blown away with the quality of it, because they had, a very rudimentary website back then. I was taking a chance, and they sent me the first prototype. And coming from China, the stereotype out there is the quality is going to be low. You don't really know what you're getting. But I was really impressed, and I'm a really hard critic. To this day, I'm a really hard critic on, technology products. But that's only because I want to see them improve, ours included. So I reached out to them, and we were going back and forth on feedback. They kind of knew my background. I had built an RTK GPS lawnmower myself in 2018. And I was kind of frustrated because what I was selling was kind of antiquated, bury a wire around the yard type of robot or lawnmower. So we kept engaging back and forth, and for, I would say, probably 8 months. And then I spoke with, the CEO of Snowbot, and we said, okay, listen, we'll work virtually. And if that works out, we'll meet at CES, the Consumer Electronics Show. We did that. We all hit it off. They came back to New York with me. Oddly enough, China canceled a bunch of flights, and the US canceled a bunch of flights. It's some kind of political thing. They got stuck here for 4 months. They got an apartment in a house down the road from me. And we mutually wanted to work together. And within that first month, we rebranded to Yarbo, and we made that decision to change from a autonomous snowblower company to a modular yard robot company. And the rest is history.
That's insane. That's just serendipitous.
It was crazy. It was crazy. Because I said, at the time, I had my own business. I made my own hours. I didn't know if I wanted to get into the startup thing, but I discussed it with my wife, and she said, listen, if that's what you want to do, if that's your passion, do it, to her credit. So, yeah.
Good wife.
Yeah, no complaints.
Yeah, that's fascinating, Ken. And I think to kind of piggyback on a couple of things that you said there. The quality was something that really impressed me as well. Getting it the first time, I just was amazed, not only at the packing, but the tools that you guys put into the kit were all good tools, and just the quality of the build was phenomenal. And then looking at all of the, kind of piggybacking on what you said there about the software, it's kind of like, I feel like it's kind of like the human brain, right? It's like we only use a small fraction of the human brain. And, that seems to be the way that Yarbo's been built, right? The hardware seems to be quite robust. And it seems like we're just starting to tap into a lot of the software and firmware that you guys are pushing in. And is that kind of the way that was designed, and that, we can do a lot more with the software to bring features out and not do upgrades to hardware?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, there'll always be incremental upgrades to hardware as it allows. Whenever we can retrofit things, we want to do that too. Everyone that had purchased a Yarbo last year was tied into like a 5-year module guarantee, right? Because we wanted to show people there would be longevity in it while understanding that technology evolves, right? But there is a ton that we can still do with software, not only through new functionality, but optimizing current ones. Yarbo is not perfect. I don't think any robotic product at this stage in life is perfect, but we are constantly, working on improving it. The team is really, really passionate about that, which I have to say helps. Not only like the product team, the engineering team, the software developers, but the after sales. Like, things happen. They want to make sure that everyone has the best experience possible, even when things go wrong. So right now, if something goes wrong, we ship you a new unit first without getting the old one back. You take the old unit, you put it in the box, you ship it back to us, we'll refurbish that unit because we want, minimal downtime. And as a company with a brand new product category, it is really important to get that product out into the field, to get, to get it into users' hands while it's being improved. You don't want a product out there that is so limited that it doesn't work at all. That wouldn't be feasible, right? Our return rate would be through the roof. But a lot of the optimizations that can still be done through software, I don't believe we've nearly approached that. And it's very similar almost what Tesla does with their rollout. My car is from 2021. It's a Model X. It's not the newer version with the revised interior and hardware 4. It's hardware 3. And I'm still getting updates with, new capability. So we really want to follow that methodology and maximize, the hardware that's there.
Yeah, just a reminder, anybody out there, if you are thinking about purchasing Yarbo right now during this live, we are with the coupon code Yarbo Live, we are offering $300 off the Yarbo Core, and also you get this free. These things are super cool. They're little mini 3D Yarbo models. I've been caught playing with quite a few of those at the office when I was probably supposed to be getting work done, but yeah. But they're super cool. So yeah, if you are thinking about it, and also remember we have our post-tear pricing. So the prices come down drastically on the Yarbo. So you can add another $300 off that with the coupon code Yarbo Live during the show. And you get the free mini 3D Yarbo, which is really cool. And I think someday there'll probably be some sort of motor in one of those things and somebody will be using it for something. That'd be great. And see in the stores that kids can get little mini Yarbo remote control vehicles, all that fun stuff like that. So I'm sure that's it. But once again, that coupon code is Yarbo Live for $300 off the Core. And so while we're going here, let's this is something that's near and dear to me. I have a TV background, DIY TV background from back in the day, and it kind of interests me because Chris here started. It's HandyDadTV. Is that it?
Yes.
Yeah. Really got to live up to that reputation if you're going to put that out there, HandyDadTV. Like anything's broken around the house or anybody, you're the handy dad, man. You got to take care of this now.
Yeah.
So Chris, why don't you tell us a little bit about HandyDadTV and how that came about?
Sure. Well, so I got to tell you, it was just a hobby to begin with, and I happened to. My daughter came back from college. She was spending a semester abroad, and she came back and she said, "Dad, I'm going to switch colleges. I'm going to live from home, but I want to build this bed." And I said, "What?" And she showed me this picture from Pinterest of a bed made out of kitchen cabinets, and I said, "No." And she said, "It's okay. I'll pay for it." So I looked at it, and it was from the UK. So I said, "Well, I think I could do it out of IKEA cabinets." And I said, "I'll make a video out of it." And I did that, and make a long story short, built the bed, and it happened to be my first viral video. And it had I think in the first month it was like over 10 million views.
Wow.
And luckily, I had enough watch time and viewers or subscribers that I had applied for the YouTube partner program before that happened. So thankfully, that was like basically pennies from heaven is the way that I looked at it. It was like winning the lottery. And that was when I basically said, wow, I can't ignore this. This is a viable business. And so that's when I just started I just said, you know what, I'm going to make videos out of everything I do around the house. And one of the common themes that I got from people was they don't have a lot of, either there's a lot of people out there that don't have a dad in their life, or they don't have a handy dad in their life. Their dad is just a couch potato, or, gets in the car and turns the key, doesn't know how it works, doesn't care to know how it works, no mechanical interest at all. And they saw what I was doing as inspirational, and I that really touched me. So that's why I said, all right, I'm gonna keep on doing this. And I just basically, I try not to make special content. It's not entertaining. It's really just showing what I do and the projects I do around the house. And right now I'm in the process of building a shed in my new house that I moved in a year ago. I keep looking to the left over here because Yarbo is going by my window as we
Oh, it's
speak.
working.
It's out front mowing 25,000 square feet. Yeah.
I was like, you didn't have to do that for us.
Which is just a wonderful thing to think that I could be in here talking to you guys or doing anything else while my lawn is being mowed.
Yeah, you can be like literally with Yarbo, you can be anywhere in the world and send it out, as long as it's getting that signal, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's kind of cool to be able to control it, with your phone from anywhere, wherever you're at, just to send it out. I do a lot of times I'm working, or if I'm out of town or something like that, I can turn the Yarbo on and just look through the camera, see what's going on in my backyard.
Yeah.
Make sure, like everything's good. It looks great, but yeah, so when you do that, are you a one-man show with that HandyDadTV then? Are you filming?
Absolutely.
All that stuff?
Nope. It's me. I'm cheap cook and bottle washer. That's it.
Yeah. How many products do you think you've reviewed in your time with that? Like, guess ballpark, lots, huh?
100, 200. Yeah.
So when was your first video with Yarbo? How long ago was your first video? When was your first? Yarbo?
It was an unboxing when I, one of the things that Yarbo is not paying me. They just provided the robot and said, here, see if you like it, make videos about it. And they gave me no guidelines. They never said, oh, we need to see your, there's a lot of places when they send you free product, it's like they own you.
Yeah.
And Yarbo was not like that. They basically were like, here, if you like it, go ahead and, comment, put out whatever you want. And the first video that they wanted me to do, all they said was, if you could put out a quick unboxing video, just an unboxing. So I did. And it was literally like a 1-minute unboxing video. And so that was the first one. And then setting up the snowblower and what I called, the mapping of it. And that process was my first exposure to it. And it was really pretty cool. And it's interesting because the 3 storms that I had, there were software upgrades. Ken talks about software changes, and I was having GPS problems on the first run. And it was just stopping in the middle of my driveway waiting for GPS signal. And there were no cloud cover. I can't say cloud cover, but there were no trees. It was wide open sky, and it was stopping. But by the time the second storm came, the firmware must have been updated. I had no problems whatsoever. By the time the third storm came, I actually kicked it off while I was inside the house. And I literally was watching it on my surveillance cameras. So that was the biggest test of my faith in the product, that I could actually let it run a snowblower, which, could cause harm. But it's absolutely, I got to that point of trust. It's almost like you talk about Tesla's autopilot. It took a long time for me to find, I'm a Model Y owner, by the way. And it took a long time for me to actually trust that I could just hold my finger on the steering wheel and let it drive. And once you get that trust, it's a wonderful thing. It's a great relationship. And that's the way it is with Yarbo. And it's not perfect. Ken, you're absolutely right. I happen to be a software developer at heart, or by education, I should say. So I know about alpha testing and beta testing and all that. And I'm looking forward to seeing tow mode come out and a lot of the other things. I know that a lot of the flaws can be fixed with software. And so that's just an exciting thing. And the fact that you've got that army of people that are not only, building them, but also taking care of the software, it's just a testament to how the quality of the company and support. Speaking of, and this is a good segue, because I'm not one of those guys that will, I try not to bash products because I just don't think it's good business. I don't want to, if I don't like a product, I won't review it. You know what I mean? So, but I will say the truth. And I actually put out one of my most recent videos was a problem that I was having with Yarbo. And my only complaint about the support was it took about 5 days before I heard back. And it was, the beginning of May, and it was prime growing season. And I really had, you heard I have, 35,000 square feet of lawn, and my backup was a push mower. And so I was freaking out because I basically put all my eggs in the Yarbo basket. And it took a while, but they got back to me and they said, listen, we think there's something loose inside your mower, and we're going to send you a new one. And I was like, oh, okay. And so I had to wait for that. Net is I had to borrow somebody's tractor to do my yard in the interim because it was just growing like crazy. But when that happened, I put it all out on YouTube and I explained the entire thing. And what I was really impressed about was not only did you ship out a brand new, mower attachment, but you also sent me free return. Take the old one, put it in the box, and send it back, as if not so much to refurbish it, but I like to believe that you guys want to see it and say what went wrong with it. Well, that's because we want to get better at it.
Absolutely. So in the beginning of the product lifetime, it is absolutely a learning process, right? So bring back the product, see what failed, see what we can optimize. Like one of the I would say complaints we got was our tall antennas and changing from the tall antennas to the short antennas, right? So we are constantly making, and this is not unique to us, right? But improvements on the production line so that now we've changed the antenna design. So you don't need these two tiny little screws that are difficult to deal with, right? To attach the antennas. It's a much quicker process, right? But we're constantly listening to the community and trying, to get feedback kind of obsessively to improve the product, right? For sure.
I kind of laugh when I see the people online that are making their own 3D printed parts. They're trying to create a better mousetrap. Like, I think I can do better than those engineers, and I'm going to, the cutting disc, I'm going to make it with fins on it so that it sucks the grass. And, I just laugh at all that kind of stuff. Like, they think they're smarter than your engineers. That's just...
You know what, though? I will say this, and not to counter that, but I really do... I love stuff like that. I love stuff like that because someone, even if 1% brings up an idea that improves our product, cool, and hey, if they want to tinker, let them tinker, as long as it's not something catastrophic that voids a warranty or something like that, right? But I've seen people make bendable. And again, like, that might not hold up through all the seasons, through the cold weather, things like that. But if you have an idea and you can execute it at home and, you want to showcase it, someone else can get use of it, I'm all for it. I can't stop tinkering with things personally. But
somebody put like some bumpers on the RTK2 and it looked like one of like stomp darts and it goes up in the air. It was almost like that.
Yeah. I saw that. The guard. Yeah.
If people, it's amazing with people, they have 3D printers and what they can do and all that stuff like that. But,
true.
All right, Chris, one more. We're running a little behind, but I don't care. We're fine. I saw some Q&A questions are coming in right now. Keep those in. We'll hit those probably in about 20 minutes or so. We'll come back in a little after 2 o'clock Eastern. We'll hit those questions. Once again, we have $300 off the Yarbo Core during this event. You also get a free mini 3D Yarbo model, which is really cool. That code is Yarbo Live. So $300 off plus post-tariff pricing. You're going to want to get in there, get on it now. We're in peak mowing season. I know I got to do my yard. I'm just trying to find time. I don't know about you guys, but time is like crazy now with kids getting out of school, and it's just all events. There's always somebody dragging you somewhere, and I was trying to plan like a vacation, and then I was talking to Ken yesterday. He's like, hey, Ken and Kathy, like, maybe you could go through here or go through here. And I'm like going, all right, okay, let's go. Let's run.
We do have these routes.
Yeah. So I was like going, that sounds great. I'm a guy that likes stuff thrown at me though. So, and that's what's great about the Yarbo is that I can have more stuff thrown at me while the Yarbo's out doing the yard work and I don't have to worry about it and stuff like that. And then one last thing, Chris, like, what are some of the other like home devices? What are some of the other smart devices that you've tested around the home, and where do you think technology like that is going?
I'm a smart home nerd. I use Home Assistant. I have tried probably every different protocol of switch and smart plug, and I have Z-Wave and Zigbee, and I'm not a Apple HomeKit user, but all the open standards I've always been one to play with. But I also have, Lutron and some others. Those kinds of things just I really geek out on. And my wife, she is not your wife, Ken. She never says, hey, I want to send Yarbo out. Are you kidding me? That just follows my mind.
I'm going to be honest. I think that's the first time she said that to me. And I was shocked, and she wanted to download the app to do it herself. So I said, all right. But yeah, funny story. So smart switches, this is where I say maybe I take technology too far sometimes. So she went on a vacation for a weekend. It was before we were married. We didn't have kids. And I was home, and Google Home had just come out, and they had their, first smart switches. And so I replaced all of the switches in the house with smart switches, but back then, smart light bulbs. Okay. So back then, I taped all of the manual switches, because if you turned off the switch, the smart light bulb turned off. So she comes back in the house, and she goes, and this was probably like 2015 or something. And she goes, what did you do to all the light switches? And I'm like, no, we're not using light switches anymore, okay? Now you have to say, hey, I'm not going to say it now, but the command name, and turn on whatever light. And she's like, absolutely not. She's like, I'm not talking to some virtual assistant to turn our lights on and off. So now we have a better understanding. If I automate something or I make something smart, there has to be a manual way to do it too. So you learn to compromise, but
yes. And that's why I prefer switches over light bulbs for that reason. Agreed. And I always tell my wife, because she's always like, what if something happens to you? What am I going to do in this house? and I said, look, it's not that hard. You hire an electrician, take out all the smart switches, put regular ones back in. I try to always have a physical switch, whenever necessary. But, that's like I said, I geek out on that kind of thing. Similarly, I don't schedule Yarbo. I trust it. It's out doing its thing on its own. I'm not watching it, other than when it distracts me, because it's like ADD. But I like to be home when I'm using it. But fun fact, I was the beginning of May was in Florida to Disney World with my grandkid's first birthday, and me being the geek, I'm like, oh, nobody mowed my lawn the week while I was gone. So here I am sitting in Orlando's airport. I open up the app, and I even like was putting this on my story and whatnot. And I said, here I am, however many 800 miles away, and I'm going to sit here. I'm going to have my lawn mowed by the time I get home. And sure enough, it worked. It was so cool. It really was. I geek out. I really do.
Yeah. We did the Disney World last year. It was on my dad's dad and stepmom's bucket list to take the grandkids to Disney World. So we did that. That was an experience. But then when it came, like, my dad was paying, so my dad was like, I heard him buying tickets, and I heard how much the lady said they were. I was like going, oh man. I was like, whoa, yeah. I was like, I don't know if I'll be taking my grandkids here. I don't know what it'll probably, I'll have to mortgage the house by the time I have grandkids. But yeah, no, it was a great time and stuff like that. But Don, thanks for waiting patiently up there. I know you're listening to all the stories. Yeah. We, once again, guys, before I get to Don, I just want to say, with the coupon code Yarbo Live, $300 off. I see the questions are coming in, plus the mini Yarbo, but I see the questions are coming in. We have a few ones. We're going to get to the Q&A in about 20 minutes. So we'll get to that, but keep the questions coming. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know if you're a Yarbo user. If you're not, let us know why you're not a Yarbo user, and maybe we can help convince you that it's the right machine for you. You know, let us know if you're thinking about it and on the fence like that. So Don, how did you get involved with an autonomous modular yard robot?
So I mean, I think I'm in good company here because I'm very much similar. So I was a CFO for trade, and now I have my own company doing a lot of report automation and financial automation behind the scenes. So I was always involved in coding, always involved in computers. I have probably every hobby under the sun. I have a woodworking company that I do stuff with. My own sawmill, milled logs, created a solar kiln, and then decided that the plug-in on the solar kiln was too elementary, so I built a kiln controller that would turn the kiln on when sun was out, because it's fully solar powered, and turn it off and do all that stuff. So when it came to the Yarbo, I was like, yes, I've been waiting for something like this. The modular design really attracted me. The track design, that was the key. I was like, that's the only way that this is going to tackle my yard. And to give you an idea of what I'm dealing with, so I went into the app and I pulled it up, and I think my largest zone is 123,000 square feet. I've got 6 of them, so I'm pushing Yarbo to the limit. I've got about 5.16 acres. It's about 224,000 square feet. So it's running all the time. It's running right now. And it probably takes I'd say it works about 5 days every week. And, I had my old equipment. Was a zero-turn, a Toro zero-turn, 72-inch deck, the largest I could get. Bought it 20 years ago. I've put probably 2 engines in it, replaced the carburetor, probably $6,000 in major repairs over those 20 years. I mean, it was a $15,000 mower. So, and then I also had somebody that was doing a service. They were charging me about $500 a month for that. So, when I started looking at being the financial weenie and the CFO, I started looking at the, kind of return on investment, and the initial investment in Yarbo was like, just the repairs on the ZTR, right? And so my expectation in getting it was like, this is probably not going to be able to keep up. It's probably not going to be able to do all of these acres. So I'm going to have to supplement, and I was okay with that, and that was my expectation. And so I got it, I think it was back in October or November. I started with the mower, and then like just before the winter got here, I was like, all right, I'll bump it up to the snowblower. And I think that's what got my order in faster. So I was like, sweet. So we still had grass to mow in October. So I was able to set it up, and I've got quite a unique setup. The data center is remote. It's on my barn that's about, I don't know, probably about 600 feet away from where I'm at in another lot. And so I was up on a personnel lift, installing that on the peak of that roof. That was probably 25 feet in the air. And, got that all set up, mapped Yarbo the first time, pushed the button, and I did it small. I just did my front yard, which was, probably like 1,500 square feet, and started up, and that thing ran. And I was like, look at the lines this thing's putting down. And I was, that was something for me that was just like, is this going to look really stupid? Because I've got a 6-foot mower that's putting, beautiful lines back and forth, and I was maniacal about that. And here I am looking like it's a push mower on 6 acres of lawn. Is it going to look stupid? And I tell you, it looks awesome. So I post every now and then, pictures of it, and people are like, this is not Yarbo doing this. I'm like, yes, it is, 100%. So it's been great. So back to kind of like the ZTR, I trim. That's it. So Yarbo does everything else. I trim around the no-goes just to keep it quick. Again, because for me, time is the essence, and having it mow around the no-goes. and I've got trees and all that stuff. So I mow around that. It takes me, I've cut my time down. I think I was probably spending about 4 hours per mow on a ZTR, getting beat up. My lawn is not, it was a horse lawn. So I've got, you know,
Tiene mucha tutera
that'll just yank your back out of, you know, place when you hit them. You know, the dust, the pollen, you can see I'm quite fair-skinned, so I would be much redder at this point.
I saw
yeah, exactly. You know,
I was like going, I was laughing. He was a city worker, nobody was on the rider, and I was like, that guy should probably have a hat on. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, I mean, not only that, you're sitting, like I would get back and it was like the grass and the pollen and the dust, I mean, all over you. No more. You know, and I don't want to sound too much like a fanboy. I mean, and Chris, I've had issues, there's no doubt. But I'm technical. I love tinkering with things. I love taking things apart and figuring them out. So it's a perfect machine for me. I'm always on the app. I'm like an addict, looking at it all the time, seeing where it's at. But, you know, and I experienced, you know, the issue with the blades, right? It ran over something it shouldn't, fried the blades, and was, you know, part of the backwater issue, right? And so I was down. And when you're down with 6 acres and a lot of pride for, like, telling neighbors my robot's mowing my lawn, I'm not pulling my ZTR out. So, right. So I was actually one of the first. So you were, you know, Chris, you were talking about the 3D printing. I was like, I gotta figure this out. So I catted the blades or the discs and posted that on another forum, and people were printing them left and right. And I mean, they were like, it's an exact replica. And I'm like, wow, I feel good about my fusion skills. But you know, that
did you recreate that just with like a caliber, just measuring it, or did you have a 3D scanner? Or?
No, I calibrated it and then just made circles. So cool. Yeah, it was you know, and got the flares and all that stuff out. So I was only able to print the hub to test it, and it lined up perfectly the first time. I was like, all right. So those of you with the bamboo printers for $1,200 or whatever they are, and sure enough, people were printing them up and using them, and you know, it was cool. I mean, it was my first foray into kind of open source. I was like, I don't want money for it. What was cool about the community, though, was, you know, I sent that out, and the guy was like, dude, this is awesome. I've got 2 blades. I'll send them to you. Yeah. And so he overnighted them to me, and I was back mowing. And I'm staring at my blades now. I've got 8 of them. So, so I ordered 8 of them. I was like, I'm never going to run out of blades. So, or the discs. So,
How often are you changing your blades?
I'm probably doing it 4 weeks.
Yeah, about once a month.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I mean, you know, and it's just because I want to have a nice sharp, you know, I want to have a nice short cut. So. Yeah.
I think I need to do that here. I'm like, I know I'm at that. I'm like, I gotta get and do that. But it's funny you said that, because I have this little stretch right in the front. I live kind of like a city environment type of thing, but I have that stretch, you know, where the village owns it. But there's this, I have a huge like cypress tree, and the roots are starting to come up. I'm trying to get them to get rid of it, but it's a task. But I actually had the push mower out in that area the other day. I still have my old. It's like a Honda. It came with the house. But I had it out in that little front area because I haven't had the Yarbo working out there. It's just the roots, and I don't want to, you know, like it's right at the street. And I'm just like, you know what, I'll map this out eventually. I have the Yarbo do my big backyard and the majority of my front yard. But yeah, a neighbor of mine was up in the window, this guy who's really fascinated with Yarbo, but he had to say something, like how you said when it was down, you were like, oh no. I just hear out the window, it's like, so much for the robot.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, you see it mowing my backyard right now. Why you gotta say that right now? I was like, I don't need this. Why aren't you help me mow? How about that? But yeah,
that's right. 100%.
I get it. People razz you and stuff like that, but it sounds like you have that, like, kind of that juxtaposition of you're a technical guy, but you're still a guy that likes the work with your hands and, you know, and build and, you know, do that. Do you still? It sounds like you're technical, but you still like that skilled trade type of thing too on that side of things. What's this? what's this like saw? I'm picturing Charles Ingalls, like a big water wheel, or what's going on? What's this? What's this? You said sawmill, right? Like
yeah. So it's a Woodland Mills that I set up, and then to dry because I was buying lumber and it was killing me because I live around. We have a lot of hardwoods. I mean, Chris knows, right? You got oak trees and stuff, and all my neighbors. So what kicked me off is my neighbor was like, "Hey, a black walnut came down," which is like, I mean, that's crazy money in lumber, right? And he's like, "A black walnut came down." He's like, do you want it?" And I was like, "Yes, I want it." So I picked that up, and that was my first foray into kind of milling lumber. And then, of course, you got to dry it. And so, you can go and get these, kilns that are running off of, propane or whatever. But Virginia Tech came up with a solar kiln that they built. That's basically just, kind of like a greenhouse almost for lumber. And, I didn't have electricity down at the place that I put it. So I had a neighbor that had a couple of panels. And so I popped the panels onto to the solar kiln, ran that through some electricity. I have an RV as well that I kind of wired up and did off-grid stuff for. And wired that up. But, then it was like, well, put them on timers, right? So, it just comes on in the day and goes off at night. Well, that doesn't work when you're running off a 24 or 12 volt battery. You'll run the battery down.
Yeah.
So I designed an Arduino board that had sensors for light and then wrote the code for it to turn it on when the sun comes out full blast, all three of the fans, turn off one, when the clouds start going over, and then when it's totally cloudy and doesn't have enough light, it shuts everything off. So. That was my first kind of automation foray. So yeah.
What temperature does that? So when you say kiln, I'm thinking the hot kilns for like clay and pottery.
Clay, yeah.
Is that what that is, or is
it gets up to about 140 degrees. And so it's enough to slowly cure the lumber, and I'm getting basically getting 8% lumber out of it, which is what you need for woodworking. And so I've built a whole bunch of stuff. I've got a crazy Etsy store that I'm selling these equestrian themed charcuterie boards.
Where is it? Tell everybody where they can find you. That, I mean, you're here. You're giving.
Yeah.
Well, the least we can do is.
Thank you, Ryan. So it's Turn 10 Garage, and that's out on my Etsy store, and you can take a look at that. But all the lumber that I use in those is all milled by myself and dried and shaped. So. That's kind of the Turn 10 Garage is kind of the hands-on, and Turn 10 Innovations is all of the automation that I'm doing in my software products. So, thank you.
Did you already have Wi-Fi out at the garage where you put your data center, or is that something you put in just specifically for that?
Yeah, I actually have. I've got an Ingenious. It's called an Ingenious. I can't remember the name of it, but. Basically, it broadcasts instead of running a wire all the way to my barn, it broadcasts my Wi-Fi, it broadcasts it to the receiver on the barn, and then I have a Wi-Fi router that gets hooked up to that, and it works perfectly. I very rarely have issues with it going out. And, talking about smart switches, right? When it does go out, I ain't walking 600 feet to go in the rain to go turn it off. So I got a smart switch on the PoE injector and turn it off on my phone, turn it back on, and I'm rebooted. So,
I was like, I feel behind. I'm still using the clapper from the 80s and stuff like that.
Gotta get up to speed.
I know. I really, like I said, I didn't know. Like you guys talked about years ago, I honestly didn't know that this technology existed up until I saw. Like I responded to Yarbo about this, hosting some of these things, and I was like, wait a minute. And then I was like, and then all of a sudden I started checking out the site and I started checking out all this stuff. I'm like, this stuff's really out there, and I've talked to Ken about this now, how he mentioned that Europe was kind of ahead of us for a long time on this kind of technology. And I still see resistance, here in the States, but it's less and less, but I do see resistance about, or you just get the whole, that's just lazy, or that's just, like, come on, like you're doing, Don, you talked about it. You're doing a million different things. You got your hands in all this stuff, and both you guys are still working. You're doing all that stuff, but it does free up a lot of your time to go and do those other work, do work on other projects, test out other things, get that, HandyDadTV on network one of these days, or stuff like that. So it does, when it comes to that. But yeah, so if anyone's joining us, I see some questions are coming in. We're going to hit the Q&A in just a few minutes. We're going to hit the Q&A. We are offering the $300 off the core today. So $300 off post-tariff pricing. And also when you order that, you get the free mini Yarbo 3D model, which is really cool. I saw boxes of those at the warehouse the other day, so it's funny. But like how Ken mentioned it, and I know you guys, we talked about this too. It's like when things do get sent back, I actually like work in the Chicago warehouse where they're coming back. And it literally is like, it almost looks like a union, like when they're out working on something, everybody's kind of standing around, kind of just going, all right, let's go. And it's just guys looking off post-tariff pricing. And also when you order that, you get the free mini Yarbo 3D model, which is really cool. I saw boxes of those at the warehouse the other day, so it's funny. But like how Ken mentioned it, and I know you guys, we talked about this too. It's like when things do get sent back, I actually like work in the Chicago warehouse where they're coming back. And it literally is like, it almost looks like a union, like when they're out working on something, everybody's kind of standing around, kind of just going, all right, let's go. And it's just guys looking off post-tariff pricing. And also when you order that, you get the free mini Yarbo 3D model, which is really cool. I saw boxes of those at the warehouse the other day, so it's funny. But like how Ken mentioned it, and I know you guys, we talked about this too. It's like when things do get sent back, I actually like work in the Chicago warehouse where they're coming back. And it literally is like, it almost looks like a union, like when they're out working on something, everybody's kind of standing around, kind of just going, all right, let's go. And it's just guys looking off post-tariff pricing. And also when you order that, you get the free mini Yarbo 3D model, which is really cool. I saw boxes of those at the warehouse the other day, so it's funny. But like how Ken mentioned it, and I know you guys, we talked about this too. It's like when things do get sent back, I actually like work in the Chicago warehouse where they're coming back. And it literally is like, it almost looks like a union, like when they're out working on something.
I was happy when they asked for the old mower back. The one thing I said to support was, "Is it okay if I keep the discs just as spares?" And they said, "Yeah, sure, go ahead." So now I got 2 spare.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't have a printer.
Yeah, I'm actually still on the same. And in fact, Ken, I think it was Isaac that sent me the disc. So Isaac sent me the 2 discs. It was awesome. And I'm still on those discs, so I haven't broken any others, which, but I'm definitely prepared. So
Yeah, I got to meet Isaac out at he came out to the National Hardware Show, so he was doing some content out there. Chris, you weren't out there, were you? Because I swear I came across some of your videos though, so I was like going, I wasn't quite sure because I had seen the HandyDadTV stuff, but it could have been just me. Also, YouTube's become such a tool as far as just doing any project around the house. Not even if I know how to do the project, I'll still go to YouTube because it's like,
Me too.
like, yeah, but then Yarbo posts a lot of stuff. You can get a lot of info on Yarbo on YouTube, so
you guys are really killing it, not only from just the social media, putting the videos out there on everything, but also just this. I mean, there's no other company doing this kind of thing where users can, get on pre-sales and actually talk to the founder. It's just not happening. So this is really blazing a new trail, and it builds confidence.
Yeah, and to be open and come out here and do these roundtables, actually talking to users, it's really cool. Not a lot of people are doing that. A lot of people want to hide their users or hide things and hide problems or hide that stuff like that. Yarbo doesn't do that, as far as it's like, it's just so fast too. It's always constantly evolving, constantly moving, just the changes I've seen since I've been here since, late January, doing some of these videos and doing that. I'm amazed at the speed that things are progressing with this technology, so it's like, so we can go to a whole Q&A. You guys talked, you guys really helped me out. I didn't have to pull anything out of you. I love this, man. You made my job easier today. The first time I was doing this, those guys were great too. But you guys really, it's nice that you guys helped me out there tremendously. So I probably could have just walked away for 20 minutes and grabbed lunch and came back, and you guys would have still been doing your thing. So so let's go to the Q&A. Before we do that, just a quick reminder. We do have $300 off the core today with a coupon code Yarbo Live plus the free mini Yarbo 3D model when you order that. And kind of at the end too, we'll be talking about some other stuff we got going on coming up for Father's Day. So I'm excited about Father's Day. I haven't even looked to see when it's on the calendar this year. I try to pretend like I'm not. I'm trying to play it cool. But when it comes to Father's Day, Mother's Day, I have that 6 months in advance. I'm out shopping, just making sure, Father's Day, I'm like, wife's always like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know. I got a couple minor league ballparks right here. And obviously I'm not far from Wrigley Field too, so I can see the Cubs. But I'd much rather take the kids to like a little just spend the day with my boys at a minor league baseball game or, do something like that. Like that's my idea of Father's Day. While I'm at the game, I can have Yarbo out mowing my yard and sounds like a good day. Maybe smoke something on a smoker, do that. So, all right, here's a question. I guess, I don't know if we really have an answer to this, but this is definitely a good suggestion. And I could actually use some help on this too still. I can do it, but I'm not perfect. If users are out there and you guys want to create some content and just have some fun. So it says, any chance we could get more training videos on setting up maps, especially with all the variables you can set up in the app. No, some people aren't sure what all of that stuff means. So yeah, I agree. Like if you're out there, I think we would love content on that. I would love content on that. So what are your thoughts on that, Ken and guys?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And one of this is kind of feature creep in a way, right? So when we started with the snowblower, you could do a driveway, right? And then people said to us, well, you know what, we have to maintain our sidewalks. And the algorithm we had for the driveway didn't work for the sidewalk, right? So we made a sidewalk area. Then we had to have pathways from the driveway to the sidewalk, right? And so we had to worry about not only on the sidewalk, how high do you keep the auger level? What speed do you move? You can only throw the snow, say, to the left and right. Same thing for the pathway. You have to be able to control all that. And then with the lawnmower, you have a completely different set of settings, right? We have main area, we have no vision zones, we have no go zones, we have different obstacle avoidance sensitivities. We're coming out with something that will let you apply those obstacle avoidance sensitivities to different areas of your yard. So if you have an area that has really healthy grass and you want to have really high sensitivity for the obstacle avoidance, you can do that. But you wouldn't want that same sensitivity in rougher areas of your yard or areas where you have patchy dead grass, things like that. So you can tailor it more to your yard. We also have dead end zones, right? Or dead end paths for the lawn. So if Yarbo has to navigate a very narrow corridor to cut, it can drive in one way and drive back out the same way. It doesn't turn around. It literally noses in and backs out. To that user's point, that stuff gets a little bit overwhelming. We have a new UI designer on board that's been on board for the last few months, and he is constantly working to optimize the UI. But we can absolutely do more overview content on how to best use the maps, when to use different types of, mapping methods, whether it be a dead end or a no-go zone or a no vision zone. We try and put like little animated tours or walkthroughs within the app, but it's always good to have a video overview. So we can definitely do that. It's a good suggestion.
I think, Ryan, you said you travel a lot. You should just, pick a new user, hand deliver his unit to him and help him set it up and record that.
That's true.
Real life examples.
I don't
need more work to do, dude.
I don't know if you want me helping him set it up, but yeah.
We have confidence in you.
Engineer with him. He'd be like, hey, Ryan, I'm going to need you to get on that 20-foot roof and put that data center up there for me. I'm like, is this the kind of we get the right content? Just
well, now see, we can make a show out of it because that might be entertaining.
I know. I told you back in the day I had like a DIY home show, but I was the comic relief for the DIY home show, and they were having me. They had me work with experts, so I work like I'm great with you guys. Like we'll go out there and work with these experts. They'll show. I'll give the occasional Tim the Toolman Taylor type of joke or something like that. Like So I'm learning this too, which I like. I like being like an average Joe that's just learning this stuff just with everybody else because I'm pretty much the consumer out there, you know, like that's why I kind of like doing this. I can give an honest opinion. I can give honest feedback. And I can also, they can look at me and go like, well, if that guy can handle it, I know I can handle it, type of thing. So yeah, so not to go too down on myself, but I am what I am. So I can move big couches and furniture. I'm like good at that. So all right, here's another question. This is more geared towards Ken. And I know we've talked about this. Somebody asked, what are the status on the trimmer and edgers? Any chance we can post a deep dive video on setting, running? And I think you guys we'll have videos for that once we get a little bit closer to launch, I think, you know, as far as when those come out. But yeah, what is the status right now? I know the trimmer's kind of been pushed back a little bit, but we had a big event for not trimmer, the edger. The trimmer we had a huge event for. So yeah, we can talk about
the trimmer is really exciting. So it's on track. So I actually have 2 early prototype versions I run. The trimmer itself has been revised a bunch of times since then. So our DBT version actually I'm supposed to have next week, and so are it's going through other field testing at that point.
What's DTV?
What's that? Design verification testing. So just to make sure that yeah.
Okay.
So just to make sure that, you know, all the material we chose is good. I mean, it's been through initial testing, but it's small batch run and then sent to a user group. And then that gives the final kind of sign off. So, but we can absolutely put more content out on the trimmer. That's something actually that I've been personally wanting to do. Just haven't had the time, but for sure, I know a lot of people are interested in the trimmer.
I'll do it.
There we go.
Yeah, I've already bought one, so I've got one on order. I'm ready for it. I've got a whole fence line. I'm ready to test it out on.
Cool. No, I have to say, like, that is one product I am really impressed with. And just for some internal insight, I was very nervous when the team came to me and said, hey, we want to place it on the back. You know, and I'm like, well, we took pre-orders for the front, right? And, you know, people are they're getting something, you know, much different, but it is much more versatile. It's a better overall product for sure. And the fact that it's the world's first autonomous trimmer, and I've already used it enough to know that, like, hey, this is really useful. You know, like, it's not, there's other trimmers out there or that are going to be released for other products where you have to, you know, for safety reasons, because they don't have cameras all the way around, you have to follow the unit within Bluetooth range. So, I mean, to me, at that point, you might as well just trim yourself. You could probably walk faster than the unit, right?
Yeah.
But that's something we are really, really excited about for sure. And I'm really proud of the team with that. I mean, they made a really good case for going with a rear attachment on that.
Yeah.
Actually, the product manager there is Ariel at Yarbo, and she is great. She is great. She took the idea and she ran with it. So yeah.
Well, and I think it also does not solve the other issue with the tow hitch. It reinforces that as well. So you kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Absolutely, yeah, the back brace mount. So the back brace mount also will open up other possibilities for sure to mount some heavy duty modules on the back. You know, it really opens up a lot of possibilities that way for sure.
Yeah, I installed right before we went live last week. I got to the office and it was like I installed the back brace mount onto the Yarbo, the test Yarbo we have at the office over there. It didn't take long. I mean, it was quick. It was an easy, it was a pretty easy change and stuff like that. But it honestly, it felt like a little different towing experience though than what with the quick hitch.
Yeah.
It was just hard to explain. I like the angle of it better too. It's a little bit higher than the other one.
It raises the hitch point up a little bit.
Raises it up, so you get more of a straight as opposed to kind of coming down, putting all that, you know, pressure on the back. And then you don't have to worry about slippage or, you know, and then even when we were doing the tow mode the other day, I kept waiting for it to like jackknife or, you know, like put, you know, and it didn't the whole time.
Yeah.
So it was like, I was like, okay, this is good, you know, and then with the tow mode too, you can kind of adjust what you're working with. So you can tell it what it has options, what you're working with, the size of the dimensions of what you're towing.
So we have, to that point, we have, I'm going to go off memory, but we have a lawn roller, a leaf sweeper. They're pretty standard measurements.
Aerator.
Thatcher, aerator, right? And then we have a button for custom, so you can put in whatever you're towing. So we know the length of it. We know at what point we're going to jackknife, right? So we know our limited turning radius, and then underlap and overlap. So if you're doing an aerator, you want some overlap, right? But if you're doing a spreader, right, you want you don't want any overlap. It's really, really cool. And that's
Is that what you messaged me about? You were like, reset the overlap.
Yeah,
correct.
Like,
I had no idea what that was in there, and I was like going, well, I don't know. Like, and then
So we were towing an aerator, and in the video it was leaving space in between the passes, so there was no overlap. So
I had a lot going on right before I was telling them.
I know.
I was like,
You did a great job.
I know. I was like I said, I don't personally like to test products live, so I was like going, all right, I guess we're gonna go here,
and that's one thing that we are also trying to do is like tow mode is being released in beta. There's a lot of other functionality we want to bring to tow mode, so it's gonna have multiple versions. But at a minimum, it needs to be able to to tow those basic implements. Right now, I think it'll be limited to pretty open areas with 90-degree corners for the most part, right? With a grain of salt. But then we want to have like tow zones, right? So you can highlight on your map where you want it to do the towing, and then also I think right now you can have 2 no-go zones in one particular tow area. So we obviously want to expand that, but we wanted to get it out to people so they could start using it and start benefiting from it now. So.
Good. We'll get the towing capacity where you can eventually tow some black walnuts. Those, and your friends. Yeah, we have black walnut. I'll send the Yarbo out that way. Get the chains, kids. Yeah, get the chains. So before I get to the next question, just want to remind everyone, if you are watching right now, we do have, with the coupon code Yarbo Live, $300 off the Yarbo Core, and also you get a free mini 3D Yarbo, which is really cool. That'll be awesome gift at Christmas for somebody. I love it. Put it up on your show. You guys could use one right behind you, like a little mini 3D one right there, guys. That'd look pretty awesome. But yeah, that coupon code is Yarbo Live. That's $300 off. And then remember, we're at post-tariff pricing. I saw Kathy put on the live too. There's a package with the Yarbo mower. There's a bundle, Yarbo mower and the Yarbo trimmer. Don't forget, you can package all those kind of things. You're going to want the Yarbo trimmer. If you're going to get the Yarbo mower, you're going to want the Yarbo trimmer. Did the firmware that is supposed to be pushed out at the end of May near release? Is the new firmware that was? This is the question I'm reading. Was that out, or is that near release, or are we still waiting on that, or what's going on with that, Ken?
Yeah, that was a good question. Yeah, good question. So, and actually, now is kind of a good time to, just if the community is listening, to go over some of the issues that I would say are priorities for us, right? And the situations that Yarbo gets in that causes those issues. So number one being Yarbo in certain conditions entering a no-go zone. So that can happen if the no-go zone is very, very close to the boundary. And what basically needs to happen is we need a smarter way of handling when that constraint is there, because Yarbo gets confused when it's going through a very narrow passage created by a no-go zone right next to the boundary. So what we are going to do is that no-go zone, there's a bug where if Yarbo is entering a no-go zone at an angle, like at a corner, not perpendicular to it, it will put the nose into the no-go zone. So we have fixed that bug. That's coming out in the firmware release date, the release we're talking about, and I'll get into the timeline in a minute. The other one is a workaround right now is that if you have the Yarbo, the no-go zone and the boundary, let's say, so the no-go zone is my fist and the boundary is here, right? And Yarbo can only fit through here. A workaround is to make the no-go zone part of the boundary and cut out that small area, and then make that small area a dead end. What we are going to do, because then it's told to just drive through, or you can make it a pathway to just drive through that area straight, because it's such a narrow area. that Yarbo won't have time to turn around. So we're going to bring up a prompt in the map that tells somebody, hey, this no-go zone is too close to the boundary, right? And it's going to recommend to include whatever you're trying to put in that no-go zone, include it in your boundary. So you're excluding the no-go zone or the object by going around it, and then it's outside of your boundary. But in a future update, this would be more of a few weeks away, the algorithm will account for that and it'll do it for you. So if you put in the no-go zone, you won't see the dead end. We will just handle it in that way automatically for you. So Yarbo, it probably won't even be a dead end. It would just be a pathway. So after it goes around that no-go zone, it knows to go down that narrow passage one way and then figure out its turning when it gets to the other side, so that it's not pushed to go either into the no-go zone or outside of the boundary. And we're doing that actually, and we have what's called, so we go by versions, right? We have our release 7, was we refer to it internally, and we've been using that as a public number as well. So our last release was release 6, this is 7. We've now split 7 into 2 sections. So split 7, the 7 was going to encompass tow mode. It was going to encompass actually a lot of new features. We've now split it. So the first thing we want to do is address the more prominent bugs that are out there. And that we wanted to release actually tomorrow, but we had it out in the PPP group. It had a bug actually related to GPS. They identified that. It's getting pushed back out to the PPP group in a new version. They'll test that over the weekend, across, again, 80 units. If that works out next week, that'll push, live to a broader audience. And the way that goes is usually in waves. Again, the same way Tesla does it. So we'll push it to, from 80 people in the PPP group. After they've tested it, we'll then roll it to, 100 users, 300 users, 1,000 users, and so on. So.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it always kind of just sounds like, I mean, a lot of people have a lot of expectations for Yarbo, and a lot of people have I know and it evolves into just an all around multi-purpose yard tool that just down the road, it just it almost seems like it'll end up creating challenges sometimes where you're going, okay, because everybody wants it all. So
no, for sure. And I will say that speaks to the team. The team, because Yarbo is a bit of a different beast, they have to become experts on snow blowing algorithms and all of these edge cases, right? And the same thing for the lawnmower. And there's no reason why every use case can't be solved. But I will say that's one of the reasons why we do things like this. We are engaged so much with our community because we need that feedback, right? Yes, we can do things like pull logs and whatnot, but if we don't have the context from the user, it's only so useful, right?
Yeah. Well, and I think that was the issue. What you explained, I appreciate that explanation. That was the issue that killed my blades. It was I know that when I did that no-go zone, it was over a culvert. And I had a very small way for it to go, and I think it did the turn, and decided to mow the culvert. So, that makes perfect sense. So, thank you for that.
Absolutely. And one of it was just narrowing down. Okay, why is it doing it? Right. The other one is we don't want to make people, cut out an area that Yarbo can't cut. Right. That's not a standard we want to uphold, right? We want to solve the issue. So that was really the big plan with it. And, and it took some time. So what we actually ended up doing was you guys upload your maps. We actually recreate those maps and that exact scenario. The team actually goes out to a field. They find out what it is. They then simulate a change. They run it through the simulator. They go back out to the field. And Jay, the project manager, actually personally, aside from the engineers doing it first, he personally goes out, tests it again in the real world scenario with that same map recreated so that we know that issue is solved.
It's awesome.
So, but.
Oh yeah, somebody was asking, does the Yarbo lawnmower with the trimmer bundle come with the hitch? I would assume you can't use the trimmer without the hitch, or not the hitch, but with the back brace and that's.
Right, it does come with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the trailer hitch and the tow hitch too comes with the back brace mount. Is that something you order separately? I'm not quite sure.
You know what? I'm going to be completely honest. I'm not sure either. Yeah, that hasn't been my focus lately. So I would say you can check the website. Otherwise, Kathy, if you can hear us, if you can just answer that for us, that would be terrific. So does the hitch come with the trimmer and the back brace mount?
Yeah, and then will the tow mode have
Yes,
a 12-volt?
Yeah, sorry. If you got the trimmer, you definitely will have the back brace mount.
What about the hitch?
What about the hitch?
Let me double check. I will get back to you guys later. I just want to confirm before we were like talking this to the audience.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'd rather not overpromise something and then like be like, well, Ryan said that. Go down. I'd like him to personally deliver it or personally deliver an apology to me.
Just remember, Ken didn't say, Ryan said.
Yeah, I know, Ryan said it. You guys will all go back to everyone and be like, oh, Ryan said it. I don't know. But having this background, I always know it's more important what you don't say sometimes, like when you go in and don't overpromise something that is not true, at all. So this is another one though. Will the tow mode have a 12-volt output option for a tow behind like a sprayer or something like that?
Yeah, so I will say that is on our roadmap. I think we talked about this I think we touched on it in the last live, but that is on our roadmap. But I do want to say it's not to say it's not a priority. It'll be coming soon, but definitely not tomorrow or within a month. But we definitely want to have that because we always want to provide the option that if you have your own sprayer, right, and you just need the 12-volt hookup with options in the map of when to enable it and disable it, you can do that, right? We will eventually have our own system, right, our own module that probably integrates with Yarbo better. But if you have the off-the-shelf product, there's no reason why you can't use it. That's really the whole purpose of tow mode, right?
Yeah.
And that's that would be part of the hardware. I mean, like we talked about, right? So the hardware is already there. The connection is already there to do that. That's
100%.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that modular connection in the back puts out the same amps, can handle the same power as the front, right?
Awesome.
So we would just need a down converter on the back, right, to convert it from the 36 volt to the 12 volt or 24 volt, and we'd be good.
Awesome. Oh, that's cool. Very cool.
Yeah. And somebody was asking, is the referral program still a thing?
To my knowledge, yeah.
Okay.
I've done it personally, and it has come through. So have to be a little persistent. The guy that did it had to be a little persistent with support, but I got my credits. So
yeah, no, to my knowledge, that is still going. I couldn't see a reason why we wouldn't have it. Kathy, again, she can confirm that for us.
Okay. And like I said, we got like 6 minutes left on this, I think, right? Yeah. So not that
I'm back, so I'm confirmed. Yeah, so the trimmer, if you got the trimmer bundle, that will come up with the trimmer and then the tow hinge and then the back brakes mount. So that's the package. So you will get it. Yeah, if you don't want the trimmer, you just get the back brakes mount. It will come with the tow hinge. So back brakes mount with the tow hinge.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. I've got a horse field. I was going to attach a harrow to the back of it and see if I could harrow the horse field. So
yeah, it's interesting. So we
might get some stuff caught in those treads out there. I don't know.
Well, that actually brings up an interest. There is a woman by the name of Jessica in our Yarbo group, the main community, and she I believe she's some kind of surgeon by trade, but she has a horse farm, and she's been using the blower to blow out all the horse waste, horse manure from the paddocks and the pens. So it's really cool to see like the use cases people come up with. Yeah.
Very cool.
Just flying everywhere.
Yeah. Well, just stay to the opposite side of which side it's blowing. That's all.
Oh,
that's right.
I think I'd have some fun with my kids with that one. To be like, hey, you just stand over there for a second, man. Just start throwing, like all this stuff. But yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, everybody who's watching though, I just want to say, well, thank you for watching though. We really appreciate it. We are doing the $300 off the Yarbo core today with the coupon code Yarbo Live. So that's $300 off post-tariff pricing. And you get a free mini 3D Yarbo unit. It's pretty cool. It doesn't actually move. It's a model. It's a model. I don't want you to get it and go like, I'm not getting a GPS signal on this thing. It's not working.
Mine's broke.
Yeah. GPS. I would put a ticket in and stuff like that. So let's remind people before we get out of here today. let's remind people real quick, we are going to be doing some Father's Day specials coming up as well, starting June 6th to June 16th. I won't tell you what those are yet, but once you'll see them on the website, some really cool Father's Day. I mean, that's kind of what we're all about, letting dad take it easy on Father's Day. So the Yarbo is the perfect lawnmower for that right now. But yeah, so it was Chris. Now you guys can find Chris on HandyDadTV, right? That's where they can find you.
Yeah, just look for that on YouTube. Yep.
We'll have to get that trimmer out your way. Well, you had the last perfect where I think your last video was like almost perfect or something like that. So at least was that it? Did I see that? Did I read that correctly?
The latest reel that I just put out, it basically was, once you go with a self-propelled mower, you can never go back to a push mower. And then when I went to a lawn tractor, I could never go back to the self-propelled. And then when I went to a zero turn, I could never go back to a lawn tractor. And now that I've tried a robotic lawnmower, and I have a really cool aerial shot of Yarbo doing its thing, I said, once you go with a robot, you can never go back to anything else.
Yeah, especially when your neighbors are heckling you from the upstairs window.
Not to name any names. I hope your neighbor doesn't watch this live stream.
I know. I hope you watch this. Yeah, I hope you watch this. Yeah. No, I got my Yarbo attacking his house right now, so we're good.
There you go.
But, yeah, and Don, you said it's Turn 10 Garage. Was that it?
Turn 10 Garage. Yep.
That's where you sell some of your
Garage. Was that it? Turn 10 Garage.
I'll just say artwork, but creative, handy stuff.
Yes, exactly. My charcuterie boards, yes. My equestrian themed charcuterie boards.
I'll tell you what, yeah. Remember that during Mother's Day, though, and like if I gave my wife a charcuterie board, she would be like the happiest person in the world, because it doesn't matter who's coming over. We got a charcuterie board out now, but she uses the cutting board that I use for like when I'm out. So it's like,
oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, she uses that one, but I'm like, but I got ribs on. I need that. Yeah. So yeah, and then obviously Ken, thanks for joining us as well today. And answering all the questions. I know that they pepper you a lot with the questions, but I hope everyone. These
roundtables, they're a lot of fun. I love talking like this conversation, and yeah, it's a lot of fun.
They are. I love them. It doesn't leave me out there hanging using tow mode for the first time on live, and or going. Or,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, I don't think people understand, but for an hour and a half talking is like, you're like going, even I'm like, shut up, Ryan. Nobody wants I'm like, yeah. And then I get home and then I don't talk to anybody. They're like, why is Dad so quiet today? I was like, I used up every word I could use.
There you go. Used all your words.
Yeah. So yeah, give us the follow too. Check out Yarbo on Yarbo Global, on Instagram and TikTok. Follow us on TikTok, Facebook. Join the Yarbo communities. I'm sure Don and Chris are in the Yarbo communities out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm in there. It's just a great way to just learn, problem solve, see what other Yarbo users are going through. That's how you get discs made, 3D printed discs made, or like what I like to do is check out everybody's, we talked about the lines, I know that was the first thing when my dad came here. He was like, wow, those are nice lines. And I'm like, if my dad can say something positive, which he never does about anything, he's not negative. He's just like, you just be like, oh, that's okay. My dad, the first thing he said was like, oh, those are some really nice lines. I was like, yeah, that's right, Dad. I never seen lines like that in your house when I was a kid. But yeah, so once again, thanks, guys. If you visit yarbo.com, coupon code Yarbo Live for $300 off plus the free mini Yarbo 3D unit. You can check that out. And then we do have some Father's Day stuff we'll be announcing coming up as well. So make sure you get on there. And once again, guys, thank you so much. And hopefully we can have you back in another one of these roundtables soon.
Anytime.
Enjoyed it. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Care, guys.
Take care, guys.
Thank
Take care.
you.
Bye, Kathy. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Kathy.
Bye.
Okay, good. 怎么样？